Here is a new manga recommendation if you are a fan of both cute things and spooky things, and that is Toilet-bound Hanako-kun or Jibak Shonen Hanako-kun. This is I think, shonen horror, but more so adventure series with 23 volumes in English and 24 volumes in Japanese. In English, this is published by Yen Press, and in Japanese, it's published by Square Enix. And both Japanese and English have volume 0, so I guess add one more volume to both of them. What first drew me to this series specifically is the art. I really, really fell in love with the art. It's just so spooky, but also cute. If you're a fan of those, I think they're 8-bit horror games, the RPG Maker horror games, probably not 8-bit, but like Ib, there was also like The Mermaid or Mad Father, those kind of games where it was like spooky but still kind of cute, then I think you'll really enjoy Toilet-bound Hanako-kun. There's just something about it that's really nice to look at, and the art is just so unique in that even if something is kind of scary, it's never that scary because it's just so nice to look at. I don't know how to describe it, but the art is just perfect. Just in general, I really like it. The second thing that drew me to it was the characters. I really, really enjoy like a well-rounded character. And I know just in one volume, I've only read volume 1, so this is more of a first impressions than anything. Um, I know in one volume you can't really like round out a character all that much. Like that I understand. However, our main character, at least I think she's who we follow for the all of volume 1, Nene, is a rather flawed character. And I really enjoyed that. Even in just what happens in volume 1, we can see she starts out pretty flawed. She eventually, like just in like 2 chapters, understands like, yeah, like I did something bad and I was punished for it. And you know what? Like I kind of deserved it. Like she grows surprisingly quickly, but not so surprisingly that it feels unrealistic. So I really, really like her, and I'm really excited to continue watching her grow. And then there's also Hanako-kun himself, where he's just really mysterious. He doesn't grow at all in this volume because we don't really know his thoughts or anything. Nene, we follow along and we hear her inner dialogue and outer dialogue. So when she grows a little bit, we know. But Hanako-kun is differently. We only see him at times, and we only hear his words towards Nene. So maybe he grows, maybe he doesn't. I don't think he does all that much. So I'm really excited to learn more about him because I really, really don't understand him. We do learn some, I don't know if they're rumors or what, but we do hear some not so nice things about him in this volume, and he doesn't deny them. And he kind of says, like, yeah, because that happened, I have to do XYZ. But we don't really know if he's stretching the truth, if he's just playing a game with it. I don't know. And I'm excited to learn more. And then the third thing that really, really drew me to this series is just, I think the plot's interesting, which I think is probably the most important thing when it comes to starting a new series. I really, really I enjoy the plot. I think it's interesting. That's all I can say. And then here is a summary of just volume 1 and only volume 1 because again, I've only read the first volume, first impressions. So, in the school that our characters find themselves in, there are 7 mysteries. And here is the 7th. If you go to a certain girl's washroom and knock on a certain stall and say a certain phrase, Hanako will appear. And Hanako can grant any wish that you may have, any wish at all. Hearing this and getting excited, our protagonist, Nene, makes her way to that very bathroom, to that very stall, knocks, and prays that Hanako will appear to grant her wish. And while Hanako does, in fact, appear, it's not the Hanako from the rumors at all. The rumors, Hanako had a very specific hairstyle, wore a skirt, was a girl. In actuality, Hanako is a boy that looks like this, not a girl at all. So he is a little bit different from the rumors, but only in gender and in looks a little bit. Besides that, he's the same. He can grant your wish. So Nene makes her wish, and her wish is for her crush to like her back, which I guess is kind of if it's a wish that I'm like, I think they're in middle school. If it's a wish that a middle schooler makes, like I kind of get it. And Hanako says, like, all right, I got you. and hands her a book about how to make your crush like you. Nene, expecting him to do some sort of grand magic procedure or whatever, is a little bit disappointed. But Hanako explains that for him to use his magic to grant her wish, she has to pay a certain price. The grander the wish, the grander the price. And that price is something you really, really don't want to be paying, most likely. And Nene doesn't really understand this. She thinks he's kind of a sham, but she really wants her crush to like her back. So, with Hanako's physical, not even physical help, he just kind of watches her. But with Hanako's help, she does try her best to better herself in order to have her crush like her. But it's doing stuff like he'll ask her, "What are you good at?" And she'll say, "Oh, I'm good at gardening." So they'll go to the garden and she'll pick some carrots that she was planting and then she'll deliver them to him secretly. And like I would like getting some carrots and plants and whatnot delivered to me, but it probably wouldn't make me develop romantic feelings for somebody. And so we slowly slowly begin to learn that Nene claims to really like this boy, but she really doesn't know anything about him. She doesn't even know his full name. And when she's pressed a little bit more, we learn that she has only liked this boy for like a couple weeks, I think. We learned that she previously had a crush and she learned that he likes girly girls. So she worked for years to be able to become the girly girl of his dreams and then confess. But when she confessed to him, he didn't even know her name. He had no idea who he was. So she was devastated, heartbroken, so sad. And then like a month later, she found this new crush. So it really seems like she just wants a new boy, like anybody will do, as long as it helps her get over the boy she was pining for years. But at the time, she doesn't really like she understands it, but not really. She's fixated on this new boy. She just wants him to like her back. She wants a boyfriend, you know? So Hanako does call her out, saying, like, it's clear anybody will do, right? And she laughs him off, saying, no, like, obviously only this one boy he's who I want. Like, make him like me, please. And Hanako says, like, well, no, like, do your best, but no. And so they do get into a little bit of an argument, and she begs him, like, do you have any magical tools whatsoever that can help me? And he goes, well, I do have some magical tools. And he empties out his little knapsack. And while he empties it out, she steals what are called, in English, I think they would be like fate tying objects. And it's two fish scales. And he explains that they're cursed objects. So whoever ingests the scales of the mermaid will be granted a fate combined with whoever swallows the other mermaid scale. But that they'll be followed by a rather terrifying curse. Nina doesn't care that there's going to be a curse. She cares that their fates are going to become intertwined. So she swallows one, takes the other, and runs away. And while she's running to her crush, she sees him get confessed to. And she's thinking, oh no, like I needed like a minute and then I could have fed him this scale and then we would have been intertwined forever. And she hears her crush turn down the confession, saying that he already has somebody that he likes. And Nene does not think to herself, oh no, he has somebody he likes, so I should give up. Like, it's clearly not me, I should give up. She instead thinks to herself, it doesn't matter if he has somebody he likes because he's soon going to be, like, his fate is going to be locked with mine. That other person that he likes does not matter, which is kind of crappy. But she kind of hesitates and then she succumbs to the curse, which turns her into a fish. And Hanako does come to save her. And he asks her, like, why didn't you feed him the scale? Like, what's up? And she confesses that what he said did kind of, she took it to heart. She was thinking, like, she really hadn't been making all that many efforts into actually getting into a relationship with this boy. Well, she, like, thought that she liked him. Again, she didn't even make an effort for him to remember her name. Like, they had never interacted before. She just pined after him in the dark. Like, obviously, he's not going to fall for her. So she thankfully realized that she was in the wrong. And now she's a fish. And Hanako explains that good news. Because you didn't feed him the other scale, I can still help you out. I can still make you human, but you're gonna owe me." And Nene goes, "Of course. Like, I get it. Make me human again, please." And so Hanako swallows the other fish scale, and Nene becomes human again. And now Nene is able to touch Hanako. Previously, he's still a ghost, but she wasn't able to touch him at all. He was completely see-through. Or I don't know the word, but she couldn't touch him at all. Now she can. They're able to interact. During all of this happening, though, a monster did come to try and claim Nene, and Hanako fought the monster off. That's in the background. After this, Hanako kind of hires Nene to be his human helper. And by human helper, she cleans the washrooms. Every day after school, he has her clean the washrooms. Poor Nene. But at least she's not a fish anymore, right? She does still have some lingerings of the curse, where whenever she gets wet, fish scales will appear on her body. But as soon as she dries her body, the fish scales go away, which has me wondering how she showers. But I'm not going to think too much about that. So he has her clean the washrooms, and she's still going about her day to day life. She's still able to do human things. She goes to classes, she has friends, everything is normal. But there are still some weird things happening at school. Remember, this is the school with the seven wonders, seven strange things. And one day at school, she notices that a lot of people have been missing things, including herself. Like the notebook she had right in front of her during class disappeared one day, just out of nowhere. Like it was on her desk. She looked up, looked back down, it was gone. And like clearly her classmates, like her neighbors, did not take it. It's like, what's up? So she talks to Hanako and says, like, "Hey, what's up?" Hanako's like, "I don't know." Talks to her friends, and she hears kind of the rumors about whatever is making things disappear. And apparently, something lurks in the shadows and steals things right when you're not looking. But it has to be when you're not looking. Because if you ever see this creature that steals things, you will never live, you won't live to tell the tale. Like, you will be gone forever, which is kind of terrifying. And Nene is a little bit scared, because why wouldn't you be? So she's trying her best to kind of ignore the fact that a lot of her things have gone missing. And she's going about her day, and she looks down, and she sees one of the things that I got missing, and then another, and then another, and then another. And she's collecting everything as she's finding them on the ground, thinking, "Oh, thank God, like, I can return these to my classmates. Everybody will be so happy." And she looks up, and she sees a giant monster. Which is the monster the rumor said that if you see it, you will not live to tell about it. Which is, you don't want to come face to face with that. And before anything can happen, Hanako comes and defeats the monster, saving her. And after the monster is defeated, Nene realizes there's a bunch of cute little bunny creatures just everywhere. She's asking Hanako, like, "What's up? Like, what's with all the bunnies?" And Hanako reveals that what the creature that had been stealing things were these little bunnies. They're really, really shy and timid beings, and they like to play little pranks and steal little objects from people when they're not paying attention. They're pacifists. They don't attack people. And they've been living in the school for a very long time, and they want to continue living in the school. And they actually are really, really cute. But Nene wonders, like, why did they attack me then if you're saying they're pacifists? And Hanako explains that the beings, like the magical creatures, the seven wonders that live in the school, can't go against the rumors. So if the rumors say that this monster will end you if it finds you, it has no choice but to attack, even if it really doesn't want to. So Hanako and the little bunny monsters, the reason it was such a big monster is because they all, like, they attached to each other and became one big being. Once defeated, they were back to normal. So Hanako and all of the little bunnies make a request of Nene to kind of quell the rumors, to make them not scary. And Nene does. She's able to kind of convince all of her classmates that if they put a candy just on their person, when they lose something, then they'll be safe. And it works. And the monsters are able, I don't want to say monsters, the little bunny creatures are able to go back to not being forced to hurt anybody. And it's all very nice. It's just so cute. And then the last kind of arc, I'll say, that happens in volume 1 happens when several of Nene's classmates suddenly go missing. And at first, Hanako doesn't really care, but eventually she's able to force him to care when a third character kind of barges in and like tries to fight Hanako. I'm not going to explain him because I don't want to over explain every single thing that happens in this volume. Um, but several people have gone missing. And not just missing, they're missing from people's brains as well as physically. So like one of Nene, I think her best friend, they seem tight. One of her friends did not come to class the next day. And when she asked the teacher about her, the teacher was like that there's nobody in our class with that name. When she was literally there yesterday. All of her stuff is gone. She calls the girl's mom. The mom's like, I don't have a daughter. Like, what? So things are bad. So she goes to Hanako. So does this other boy. And they say, like, you need to help us find the missing people. Like, please help. And Hanako's like, oh, it's probably that. And Hanako explains that there is another rumor about one of the other 7 wonders at the school, where if you step on the 4th stair of a certain staircase, you'll be transported into this kind of, it's a world in between this world and the other world where the boundary is very, very loose. And that boundary world is more than likely where all of the missing people are. Why they're forgotten completely, I'm not quite sure. So the 3 of them make their way together to this boundary world where they're hoping to be able to collect all the missing people and return them safely. But things do not go according to plan. And it ends right after they get there. It does end on a cliffhanger, so I'm not going to spoil that because it's a really big cliffhanger and I'm excited to continue reading. But that is basically the gist of what happens in volume 1. We have one main character. I'm going to say that Nene is the main character in volume 1 and 2 kind of like side characters. Though Hanako will definitely be his name is in the title. Definitely be like a main character for the whole series. I'm not quite sure about the other boy, but for now I'll say there's 3 prominent characters. And now I'm going to say my predictions for where the story is going to go from here because I like to think about what could happen and then get excited if I'm right, or I'm also excited if I'm wrong because I like being surprised. I like being incorrect and proven wrong sometimes when it comes to stories because I like stories that I don't know where they're going. So, my first one is, will these 3 characters continue to be at the forefront for the whole series? Nene and Hanako, I'm fairly certain they will be, fingers crossed. But this third boy, I don't know. I do know he's on the cover of a couple of the later volumes, but kind of like I have an inkling feeling that he's going to disappear for like a while and then come back, though I don't know. I'm also curious to see if more of the creatures turn friendly after kind of being not just defeated, but having the rumors about them be turned. Because with the bunnies, the rumors were turned and they went back to being pacifists. But they're pacifists from the beginning. With the first mermaid monster we saw, they were not friendly, but there were no rumors about them to begin with, and no rumors about them were changed. So I'm curious about kind of the rumor power system. It's really not all that much explained because Hanako himself says that once like the spirits or creatures or whatever cannot go against the rumors. However, he himself goes against the rumors because he's meant to be a girl in a skirt with a certain hairstyle, and he's a boy. So I'm a little bit curious as to why the rumors affect some of the beings and not others, and I'm wondering if it's going to be explained or not. I'm wondering if it's just like main character armor or something, I don't know. And then I'm also kind of curious if the story will start following a theme of our 3 characters finding something that needs to be done, going to another world through one of the 7 wonders of the school, defeating whatever like bad things are lurking there, and then coming back to school. I'm wondering if it's gonna follow that kind of vibe where they're always together, go here, defeat the bad, come back, end of the day, everybody's happy. next to something bad's happening, they all go together, defeat it, come back. I'm wondering if it's going to be like that or if there's going to be more infighting and things are like more spread out, a little bit different. Every story's unique. I'm not sure. I wouldn't be mad at either because I do like the formula, but I also like being more surprised with where the story is going. So I'm excited to see which way it goes. And then there were also a couple things about this volume that left me a little bit confused. So like extra spoiler warnings because I'm confused about them and I want answers hopefully in the near future. And the first and biggest one was, who was that boy that left the crane on Nene? No idea. He wasn't explained at all. He just left the crane on her and then left. So my potential predictions are that he is maybe a relative of the boy that hangs out with Nene and Hanako, or he's a completely different third party who will come in and save whoever needs saving from that cliffhanger at the end of volume 1. I kind of think it's one of the two. I do hope he's prominent in volume 2 because I'm very curious about him and I want to know why he left the crane on her. Clearly, it's to follow her and see where she goes, and clearly she went somewhere dangerous. So I'm hoping I'm right about that. And then the other thing, my other like big like what's happening question is that we do hear a rumor, so maybe right, about Hanako's past, where he was very violent and did a very, very bad thing in the past. And Hanako doesn't say I did it. He doesn't say I didn't do it. He kind of does say he did it, but like it's in a joking tone where like you can't really trust him, you know? And he also says that he's been needing a human helper. And he also says that like he made a deal with the gods that his past will be forgiven if he like maintains the balance between the humans who go to school here and the like other wonders at school. He has to make sure they're able to live peacefully. And like I do feel like he's kind of exaggerating a little bit. Maybe not. I don't know, but I kind of feel like he is. So I'm wondering why, like if he does indeed need a human helper to help him with that, why? Because it would make sense if he needed one human helper and one like spiritual helper to like maintain the balance. I guess he could be considered the spiritual helper, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. I'm confused. I'm wondering if he was just lonely and wanted a friend and that's why he ended up working with Nene and just the fish scale and everything that happened like that for them to be on a more equal level where they can touch each other now is just a happy coincidence. I'm not quite sure, but I am like I want to learn more about his past and like how he came here. And it probably is explained in volume 0, and I don't know when is an appropriate time to read volume 0. So I'll have to look into that. But those were my kind of thoughts and predictions and also kind of long explanation about volume 1 of Toilet-bound Hanako-kun. If you've read volume 1, please let me know and tell me what you think, but please no spoilers because first impressions, I have not read more than volume 1 and I really enjoyed it. I do know there's an anime about the series as well, but I want to read more of the manga before I do literally anything else. I want to follow the source material before I venture into the TV world.